I'm coming home. All right. Started working on the Rosebud Reservation as a cop. He did that for many years, and he's always wanted to get into higher patrol. He finally accomplished that at almost 50 years old this last year. He was one of them older Marines, went to higher patrol school, and he was with these young kids having to run up these hills and do all these things, and he accomplished the mission. He knew something that he wanted to do. This last August, my brother was patrolling during the Sturgis Bike Rally, and he won an award from the High Patrol. He took shots to his windshield of his vehicle, saved the lady, while another High Patrolman took care of the situation. Being a veteran, he was very proud of this moment in his life, and I told him, I love you, Ray. It's an honor to be your brother and also to be a part of the Marine just like you. I joined the Marines in 2001. It was my first time on an airplane. I hadn't been a lot of places. I hadn't done a lot of things. Just like all Marines, it was a calling. I landed in San Diego at the airport, and they took us to the Marine office, where a bunch of other young men just like me were sitting around, holding up an envelope, worried, debating, nervous about the next step of what's going on. But all of a sudden, these buses showed up, and a Marine drill instructor came out, walked into this office, started hauling around, started calling out names. Get on this bus, do this. So finally, my name came up, then they drove us to MCRD, Marine Recruit Depot, San Diego. They drove us to the gates, and as we sat on the bus, another Marine drill instructor came on and started the process of us becoming from civilians to becoming Marines. We stood on these yellow footprints, which many Marine has done. Transition started, and we went into a receiving program basically where we didn't get to meet our drill instructors right away, but we did eventually. So the day they called it Black Friday, we're marching, we go into our squad day, and all of a sudden these 4 men walk in, and they're Marine Corps drill instructors. And for the next 12 weeks, we experienced the highs and lows of becoming a Marine. Any Marine in here knows, from the long hours to the physical training, to the quarter deck, to the parade deck, the Marine Corps was a challenge that I had many times at boot camp where I was wondering, what was I doing? How am I going to get through this? I'm with 42 other men that I don't know. We're being yelled at every day. It wasn't a fun experience in the beginning. They broke us down, they built us back up, they turned us into Marines. One of the hardest things about boot camp that I experienced was something called the Crucible. It was 54 hours of over 48 miles hiked, with challenges, with not much sleep, with very little food. We had to push each other in our platoon to make it. At the end of our journey on this thing called the Crucible, we had a 9-mile hike of something called the Reaper Boot Camp. It was a big, tall mountain, and on the top of that mountain, they gave us something called an hemoglobin anchor. Our drill instructors who you never seen smile, never seen them crack a smile or anything, looked you in the eyes and handed you something and said, "Congratulations, Marine, you did this." Each and every Marine knows that in this room. It's something that only we know, something that we experience. After boot camp, I got sent home for a period of time for leave, and I had to come back and go do something called Marine Combat Training. My job in the Marine Corps, I was a 1345 heavy equipment operator. After MCT school, I went to do my MOS school, which was in Fort Leonard, Missouri. And from there, I got to go back to San Diego to the Fleet Marines, basically. From the Fleet Marines, I was stationed with NWSS 372. It's a Marine Wing Support Squadron out of Camp Pendleton, California. And in 2003, I got to deploy to Iraq and Kuwait. My deployment was an experience that I'll never forget. The beginning of it, I got onto this, it was called an MPF ship. It's a bunch of Marines got designated. We got to basically fly down this island called Diego Garcia. We jumped on these ships that are sitting around. We took them up into the port of Kuwait and up into Iraq. The experience that I had during the Kuwait and Iraq was something I'll never forget as well. The people that I met along the way, the Marines that I still talk to today, is something we talk about once in a while. We get together, we'll talk on the phone. There's a lot of honor and courage and commitment that went into what the Marines had done. My deployment, after I got back from my deployment, I got to a stateside, and I got to celebrate a little bit of time of being home. But then I got another set of orders to Okinawa, Japan. I got to spend my last year in the Marine Corps on a tropical island. I thought that I was going to have an easy way out when I got in there. I had one more year left, but I got stuck in something called the company office. I was up in the company office with a bunch of higher-ups, some majors, lieutenant colonels. I had a first sergeant, I had a gunnery sergeant, and they put me in a position called the company training officer. Something that I was not good at whatsoever because of confrontation, but I had to learn. I had to speak to these higher-ups, I had to take care of the barracks, I had to train young Marines. And it was, not only was it tough at the time, but it built me for life. Being able to speak in a timely manner and do those things, and I had a lot of Marines that pushed me along the way. One of those Marines was a guy named Gunnery Sergeant A.C. Banfield. He was an African American from Brooklyn, New York. He'd been in the Marine Corps for a while. He was a prior drill instructor. He'd always say, "Yo, Peters, what you got going on today?" He's always making jokes and doing things like that. This one time he said, "All right, Peters, let's go up to the barracks." And I was a barracks manager, basically. If the barracks was messy, it was my problem. So we walk into the barracks, and there's a Marine, young private, and he's reading a magazine. Gunnery Sergeant Banfield walks up to him and lights this Marine up, to the point to where I about stood at attention from my old boot camp days. Gunnery Sergeant A.C. Banfield taught me a lot of things in life. That's something I'll never forget is confrontation, being able to handle the situation, and doing the things that were right. He was a square Marine. He was physically fit. He taught me that being a Marine and doing the right things is the way to go in life. Looking back on my experience in the Marine Corps, it was a lot of ups and downs, but the journey that people that I met along the way is something I'll never forget as well. I met all people from walks of life, from all over the United States, who had their own mentalities, had their own way that they looked at things. I'm proud to be a veteran. I'm proud to have served. My Marine Corps time, I look back on every day. When they asked me if I would like to be a speaker, I sat down at my table at my house and I started putting pen to paper, and the memories just started to pour in, just like anyone in here that's been in the service. The people that you met, the colleagues down along the way, your higher-ups, the things that you did is something that you won't forget. A lot of pride, a lot of commitment goes into being in the military. And each and every one of you that have done that knows that. Getting out of the Marines, I've seen some of the most beautiful sunsets when I was in the desert. I've seen some of the bluest water when I was in Okinawa, Japan. The Marine Corps took me all over the world, something that I probably wouldn't have done if I had not been in the Marines. I didn't expect to go into a wartime situation while I was in it. I didn't expect to be sitting in the Kuwait desert, 130 degrees, talking with my buddies. I didn't expect to be up in Iraq, but it was something I was called on. I served my country, I did what I needed to do, and it's something I'll cherish every day. What do I do today as a veteran? I work for Divine, pour concrete. I take a lot of those things that I did back in the Marines with me today with some camaraderie. I coach football. I'm the assistant middle school football coach, and I coach the youth team. I'm a parent to my son, Drake. I know that the volleyball team has some business to take care of tonight, so good luck to the volleyball team. To the elementary students, The sky's the limit for you, what you accomplish. Take the knowledge given to you. It's okay to have big dreams at a young age. To the middle school students, start thinking about the next path in your life. What is it that you're going to want to do? Do your schoolwork, clean your room, rinse off your dishes. To the high school students, graduation for all of you is going to happen very fast. If you don't expect to go to college or something's not that you're calling, the military will take you wherever you want to go, as long as you accept that challenge. It's about a calling. It's about not knowing what you really want to do, but I know that I want to accomplish something in that way. I want to be pushed. To the teachers in the community, life's not always easy. Work, the daily grind. There's a Marine Corps general named Chesty Pullman. Okay, he was one of the most decorated Marines in the Marine Corps. This is during the Korean War. It's called something called the Frozen Chosen. Americans were surrounded. Chesty Pullman looked at everybody and said, "Good, now we can attack in any direction." The same thing for you. When we have those ups and downs in life, we can attack in any direction. And last night, to the football team, my veteran pep talk to you. I kind of consider the military and football kind of being the same. You're a group. You're a team. You do the hard work. You put in the time. Greatness is around the corner for you. Each and every one of you know that I don't sugarcoat a whole lot. We gotta be tacklers. We gotta be beasts. If you need any help, let me know. Last but not least, to my fellow veterans. If you're a veteran, please stand. For I would like to salute you. Thank you, go Cougars.
Thank you, retired Sergeant Peters, for your dedicated service to our country. Your commitment is truly inspiring. Today, it is and those still missing.
The table is round. The table is round to show our everlasting concern for our fallen and our missing men and women.
The white tablecloth. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their intentions to respond to their country's call to arms. The table set for one. This table set for one is small, symbolizing those who have not returned from war, but who have not been forgotten. The single red rose. The single red rose in a vase reminds us of the life of each of our fallen and the loved ones and friends who miss them each and every day. The vase is tied with a red ribbon, a symbol of our continued determination to remember our fallen and find our missing.
The slice of lemon. A slice of lemon on the plate is to remind us of the bitter fate to those captured and missing in Fort Germany.
A pinch of salt. A pinch of salt symbolizes the tears endured by their friends and families of those who have fallen and of those who have not returned. The inverted wine glass. The glass is inverted to symbolize their inability to share toast with us. The empty chair. The empty chair represents the absence of the missing and fallen. And finally, the candle. The candle represents the light of hope that lives in our hearts and guides their way home from their captors to the open arms of a grateful nation. At this time, we would like to recognize this year's recipients of the Patriots Pens, Hattie Hausman. How are you showing patriotism and support for our country? There are many different ways to show your patriotism and support for our country. One way to show your patriotism and support for our country is by having an American flag at your house. You can also show your respect for veterans by praying for them. To show support for our country, you can learn about America's history. You can learn about America's history by learning about the Star-Spangled Banner and how it started. If you pick up trash where you live, that shows that you love and support our country. You can also wear patriotic clothing. Volunteering is a good way to show your support for our country. Donating goods to different shelters and people in need is a good way to show your support to our country. Celebrating Veterans Day and participating in Veterans Day programs is a great way to show your patriotism and support for our country. You can write thank you cards for the veterans to show how much you appreciate them. Singing or playing the Star-Spangled Banner is one way to show your patriotism and support for our country. You can show patriotism by participating in civic duties like voting or respecting the nation's symbols. You can visit veteran cemeteries or national monuments to pay respect to veterans. Supporting military families is another good way to show your patriotism and respect for our country. Teaching other people about about the history of our country, holidays, and the meaning of patriotism is also a good way to show your patriotism and respect for our country. You can serve in the military to show your patriotism and support for our country. Following laws shows that you respect and support our country. Act as a positive ambassador for your country by treating all its people with respect and speaking out for equal rights and opportunities. All these ideas are amazing ways to show patriotism and support for our country.
And this year's recipient for the Voice of Democracy, Emma Kellen.
This year is how are you showing patriotism and support for our country? This got me thinking of what patriotism is. Not just the dictionary definition, but what does it embody? The dictionary defines patriotism as the quality of being devoted to one's country. I agree with this definition, but what does it mean to me? To me, patriotism means more than just words in the dictionary. It means standing up for our freedoms and learning about our rights as citizens and using them in our day-to-day lives. So what do I mean when I say standing up for our freedoms shows patriotism? I mean that it is important for me to stand up for what I believe in, and also stand up for what I think is right. I also think it is to empower and stand behind those who are fighting for the rights too. I admire our country because many people stand together to support things they believe in, which is a big part of patriotism. Personally, the way that I show patriotism is by sharing posts on my social media to help gain support for these causes, or even volunteering to do activities to help aid these causes. Additionally, another thing that we can do is learn our rights as citizens. Knowing these rights is very important to showing our patriotism because learning these rights, we recognize the hard work that many people in America's past have done to fight, advocate, and lead the way to make these rights possible. Some ways that we can exercise these rights would be by voting. Whether it be in local, state, and national elections, voting is a very important part of showing patriotism and support for your country. In 1919, the 19th Amendment was passed, which granted women the right to vote. Now many women, including me, have the right to vote. This is one way of how I plan on showing my patriotism is by voting in all the elections I can. Doing this will help honor all the women before me who fought for the right to vote. Additionally, running for office is another way to show patriotism. Whether it be running to be a class officer, up to being running for president, or to being a member of Congress, running for an office is a great way to show patriotism for your country because you are trying to make an effort to make America a better place to live. I plan on doing this by running for offices in my local community that I think I would make a better leader, and I feel like I could leave a lasting positive impact on. Lastly, another thing you can do is write to your local congressman about issues that you think you can help resolve or would like to possibly have resolved. Even writing legislation is a good thing to do. I plan on writing to my local legislators and proposing ideas that I think will make my community a better place to live. Overall, explaining and giving examples of how you can show your patriotism, as well as listing examples of how I'm showing mine, as well as explaining ways that I have always shown patriotism. I think that you can never stop showing support for your country, and that there's always something you can do to make America a better place for all. America has been around for 249 years, and I can't wait to see how it changes and develops over my lifetime, as well as see what impact my support for my country has.
Being here today. If you are a veteran of the armed forces, could you please stand so that we may recognize you?